Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is the New Mutants Classic Volume 2 by Chris Claremont and Sal Buscema. And this is New Mutants number 10. And we're continuing on the Nova Roma arc. So our favorite little junior squad mutants were this close to all being killed at the gladiatorial event. And then things kind of turned around on them, and now they're being paraded as both heroes and gods in the case of, or goddess in the case of Rain here in her wolf state. And you get a lot of really interesting. Diane Schutz is a consultant on this one. I don't know if that was Chris Claremont just using someone for all this stuff. You get a lot of history, ancient Rome, and then the relationship with what the New Mutants are doing right here. I like how I like these narration boxes. I like how it's this image here is great by Sal Buscema, but it doesn't really show the greatness of it, right? And if you kind of like imagine the gladiator, you can kind of get it. So anyhow, it kind of gives you some background of this guy right here, Marcus Domitius, who are Galileo, who's basically playing games in the background, and he's manipulating the New Mutants to give himself the chance to overthrow this guy, Lucius Aquila, who is Amar's father. And you get a lot of back and forth. Bobby here is still really depressed because he doesn't know what happened to his mom, and he's still pretty bummed out about it. The New Mutants go back, and they're kind of pampered and treated to a feast. And you get some talks here and there with Galileo kind of talking about Rome and his the classes and what his role is and whatnot. And he's giving them a bunch of bullshit, and Sam pretty much knows he's giving them a bunch of bullshit. Most of them do, and very interesting. He kind of brings up Amara, and this triggers Ron. It's a really interesting pose by Rain, and she's pretty much she's a liar and a sneak. And Sam's like, "What the hell?" The rest of them are like, "What's going on here?" So he kind of takes advantage of it, and he's just like, "Yeah, you know what? She ran away while you guys were dealing with the issue at the Coliseum. So how much of a friend is she, right?" So he walks off, leaves them to go enjoy their new comforts, right? First thing that Bobby does is pull a freaking Hulk Colossus right here and just blast his armor off. And you get an argument between Rain and Sam, mainly because Sam was like, "Hey, why are you like?" Because Rain was kind of volunteering to assist Galileo. And Sam was like, "Hey, don't be volunteering us without, talking to the rest of us." And Rain kind of jabs back at him. She secretly still has the hots for Sam, but she can tell that Sam is getting feelings for Amara. So you get this is really good writing for what the demographic of the New Mutants was kind of supposed to be for. It was the younger X-Men, right? But honestly, the way Chris Claremont writes it, anyone could really enjoy the New Mutants. So we go back to Bobby, and this is fantastic right here. Bobby's kind of walking away. He needs time to really think about what's going on. And he goes into an inner monologue about all the things that have happened. And it's great because he's basically thinking like, "Man, dude, I'm a freaking failure. The woman I loved in Brazil, she died for me because I couldn't save her. I tried to save Sean, and she died. I tried to save my mother, and she died. It's like, what is the use of my mutant powers if I can't do anything about this?" Really great character development right here. Up until this time, Bobby is kind of a little bit I wouldn't say one dimensional, a little bit two dimensional. In that he was kind of just the hothead character with some spicy one-liners once in a while, but this really gives him depth. He has like a lot of self-doubt. He wants to be a hero, but he keeps running into setbacks and failures, and he's questioning himself. It's good writing. Lo and behold, his mom shows up. And he chases after him, and he's about ready to bash through these Centurions just to get to her. But he kind of remembers Professor Xavier's teachings. And it's another good character moment because normally, you would just assume that Bobby would just blow these people over to go find his mom, but he remembers the teachings of Professor Xavier, and he decides, okay, I got to find a way to find her out at a different time and not be violent about it. Really good character development for Bobby in these 2 pages alone. Danny sneaks out at night. She gets captured. That's kind of the quick and dirty of what's going on. Then you get a real good talk in between with Ron. Again, this whole chapter or issue has a lot of character development. So this is one with Ron, and in her case, she regrets arguing with Sam, but she's also kind of feeling guilty because she likes being treated like a goddess here in Nova Roma, because it's so different than how she was treated in Scotland, basically as an abomination. And she's admitting that she's liking being a wolf more than being a girl every more and more and more every day. Then you get some action right here. Somebody tries to shoot Ron and Bobby. Sam has to save Bobby, and Rain freaking tackles this piece of shit. Yeah, he's back. And this actually is a setup. Galileo is basically using him as an excuse to go attack his rival, Aquila. And we go to Danny. She's been stripped down into basically a Princess Leia costume. And she meets up with Amara, who's also been captured, and another girl. And we go over and you find out who Selene really is. She is basically both a witch and a mutant. And it's pretty horrifying. She hypnotizes this one girl and tosses her into the fire and uses her death to power herself. And, then at this point she's looking at Danny and Amara, and she's like, yep, which one of you will be next? We break over in the action. Yeah, a lot of stuff happens in this issue. And they break into Amara's father's house to capture him. And during this fight, Sam's kind of inner monologuing, like, something about this doesn't sound right, and I think we're being played by Galileo. And he's able to pick up Bobby and talk about this, and they both agree to kind of work to keep him alive. And they capture him, and very interesting, Galileo talks in Latin, and he's basically, admitting what he's trying to do, which is just take over Nova Roma. And very interesting, Bobby actually understands Latin, so he's actually got the whole skinny on what's going on. He's like, oh shit, Sam, we're going to have to do something about this. We get back to the crazy action over in Selene's cave, and she's about ready to send Amara into the lava pit. And Danny at this point summons all of her willpower to break free of the guards, and she tries to attack Selene. But Selene basically easily overpowers her. And here you get the explanation that, having observed the New Mutants, she now realizes that she's a mutant. And, she's trying to capture Danny's soul and turn her to her side. And during her focusing on Danny, Amara's able to break free. And she tries to attack Selene, but Selene just bitch slaps her back into the lava. And this is where shit goes crazy, right? This is really great, by the way. You'd never expect this. The other girl basically just died, right? And you kind of, when you see Selene just bitch slap Amara, you're like, oh man, I kind of like that character. And then this happens, and you're like, oh shit. And here you get the birth of the character Magma. And and where how Amara became Magma, or I guess how her mutant powers were activated. Very, very cool, really exciting issue. A lot of stuff happening. Great character developed. Just a classic Claremont New Mutants issue. Yeah, man, I'm gonna do the conclusion of this, and that'll be the last Magma issue I do in this series, because I think at that point you kind of get who Amara and Magma is. But yeah, man, this is I love the fire design, by the way. I've always loved this, and that's one thing that's really cool is all of the artists have always allowed the colorist to kind of define this, and both Sal Buscema, McLeod, and Bill Sienkiewicz, they never really changed this about Magma. They've always kept this about her, and I've always liked this about the character design. Anyhow, that's it. Let me know what you think about this review. If you liked it, please thumbs up to like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. And if you have any comments about this issue of New Mutants or Magma, leave it down below. And I will see you next time.